Hi everyone, and welcome to the Needs Assessment assignment video. I'll be reviewing the assignment, providing you with some background information on types of needs assessment methods, and directing you towards the literature and resources that will help you to successfully complete this assignment. If you'd like, you can have your assignment descriptor out as you follow along. Simply put, a needs assessment is a process to determine what a group of people, an organization, a community, or a population needs in order to attain some standard or to improve its existing conditions. You'll be conducting an assessment of needs to help inform your capstone projects. There are many benefits to completing a needs assessment. It will help you to make decisions about priorities for program improvement or change. It encourages trust, buy-in, and support from those who are involved, and it will ultimately save you time and effort. It will basically help to eliminate any unpleasant surprises down the road as you are working on your capstone projects. According to Altschuld and Witkin, a needs assessment consists of 3 phases. First is the pre-assessment, in which the focus and methods are developed. Next is the actual assessment, in which the data collection and analysis takes place. And post-assessment, which involves developing and implementing an action plan based on the assessment findings. In a future class, you will actually implement a needs assessment at your site. In the assignment for this class, you will focus on the pre-assessment phase. That is, you will decide on and develop the focus and methods of your needs assessment. As you have already learned or will learn in this program, the needs assessment is part of the look phase in Stringer's action research spiral. There are a multitude of types of needs assessments. It is up to you to decide which you would like to use for this assignment, but some common types of needs assessments include surveys, key informant interviews, focus groups, observation, nominal group technique, SWOT analysis, asset mapping, and photo voice. You can negotiate other data collection methods with me if there is one that you would like to use that isn't listed here. Also, I encourage you to choose and use more than one method. Generally, high-quality needs assessments use at least 2 methods to collect the data. This is referred to as data triangulation, which increases the rigor. Whatever you decide, though, you need to use the literature to justify the methods that you choose. Now, the first 5 types of needs assessments that I listed are most likely somewhat familiar to you, especially after doing this week's readings. As you are reading in Kielhofner, chapter 36, you will see a helpful table entitled Commonly Used Methods and Needs Assessments. The reason this table is so helpful is that for each type, it cross-lists the book chapter that discusses the methods in greater detail. So for example, surveys are discussed in chapter 8, interviews and focus groups are discussed in chapter 20, and nominal group techniques are discussed in chapter 24. So when you decide on one or more of these needs assessment types, you will read the associated chapter, if you haven't already, to get a solid background of those methods. Just a note here, it is likely that your needs assessment methods will be different than your overall capstone project methods. That is completely fine and is to be expected. Just remember that in this paper, you will be describing the methods for your needs assessment, not the overall methods for your capstone project. In addition to the Kielhofner book, you have your Creswell book as a resource as well, and he describes almost all these different types of methods in various chapters. And the last 3 needs assessment types may be less familiar to you, and neither of your class books review them. They are SWOT analyses, asset mapping, and photo voice. All 3 of these are excellent possibilities for needs assessment methods. I would like to direct you to a website that will be very useful for you. The website is called Community Toolbox. So I want to take a couple minutes to show you how to navigate this site. So you're going to go to the Community Toolbox webpage, which is ctb.ku.edu/en. And this community toolbox is a public service of the University of Kansas, and it was developed by their work group for community health and development. And use of this website itself is completely free, and it does offer an enormous amount of information. In this class, we will be using it to focus on needs assessment, but it has over 300 modules on other topics such as planning, intervention, evaluation, advocacy, and other aspects of community practice. One little note before we look at this website: while its focus is at the community level, the information can easily be translated to the program or organizational level, which is more likely where your needs assessments for your capstones will be focusing. So once you're at the home page, hover over this Learn a Skill and then click on the table of contents. Okay, so here's the table of contents, and you will go down to Chapter 3, Assessing Community Needs and Resources. Click on that, and from there you'll see Chapter 3, which has 22 sections. And these sections include some of these needs assessment methods, including asset mapping, SWOT analyses, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and photo voice. And you'll also find information on conducting interviews, conducting surveys, conducting focus groups, and community observations, which they refer to as understanding and describing the community. So let's investigate one of these pages so you can see how they work. Let's go to Section 14, SWOT Analyses. So you'll see that each section pretty much looks the same. They're broken up into different parts. So for example, in this section, the main headings are: what is a SWOT analysis and why should you use one? When do you use SWOT? What are the elements of using a SWOT analysis? You can see how they go into great detail about what one would look like. How do you create a SWOT analysis? How do you use your SWOT analyses, and a summary. So what I especially like about these sections also is that they have resources, both print and online, at the end of each section. And this section on SWOT analyses doesn't have a whole lot of print or online resources, but some other sections, for example, on photo voice, have a large number of resources. And based on which assessment methods that you use, I recommend strongly that you refer to some or all of the resources that are listed for you to help you with your design. And finally, if you scroll back up to the top of each page, you'll see that there's even more information in a series of tabs. So you've got your main section. You've got a checklist about the main points of conducting each of these methods. You've got examples that they provide of different projects using, in this case, SWOT analysis. Different tools to use. And then each section also has a brief PowerPoint that just briefly lists the main points of that section. So that's the main aspects of this Community Toolbox website. So now you have an idea of the types of resources that are available to you. If you go to the Blackboard page for this week's module, you'll also see a tab with additional resources about needs assessments. I'll expect to see evidence of a variety of these resources in your paper. Speaking about your paper, let's take just a little more time to review some of the specifics. On the second page of the assignment descriptor, you'll see the expected format. It should be self-explanatory, so please skip down to Section 4, in which you'll be describing your needs assessment data collection methods. This is really the core of the paper. In addition to describing the methods you'll use for your assessment, you'll also explain your reasoning for choosing that method. Then, drawing from all your resources, discuss your data collection method, including the procedure. So for example, if you're conducting a survey, will it be face-to-face or online? How will you choose the sample? How will the survey questions be sequenced and formatted? And so on. After that, you'll design your actual assessment instrument. So for example, if you are conducting a key informant interview for your needs assessment, list out the questions and prompts that you'll be using. And be sure to include this instrument in a table format within your paper. And then you will finish up your paper with a discussion and conclusion. And finally, please remember that it is very likely that you will end up revising your needs assessment instrument prior to or during the future class in which you conduct it. I will be grading you on the quality of your product in this class, but if you end up eventually changing it before you actually conduct it, that's fine. I hope that this video has helped you to get started. Don't forget to also watch the other video to hear an overview of this week's readings. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, developing and conducting a solid needs assessment will help you not only to get to know the community, organization, and individuals better, it will also help you to develop trust and buy-in from those involved. This will be very beneficial down the road when you are working on your capstone projects because it will save you valuable time and energy. Have fun with your design and don't hesitate to contact me at any point if you have questions.